Have you ever heard of houses that are made automatically with machines? Like there's a single human who is putting blueprints in the machine, and it will create an exact-looking house as you want it. If not, then you must have heard of a machine that is capable of making a completely new human heart. Yeah, you heard it right. It is made by a machine from scratch. Sounds wild, right? Well, that's exactly what 3D printing is starting to do. It's not just a cool gadget for making toys anymore. It's changing how we build stuff, how we fix people, and maybe even how we think about the future. Let's figure out how it works, what's already happening, and where it's all headed. Buckle up, this is going to blow your mind. So first off, what's 3D printing anyway? Simply put, it's a machine that follows a digital blueprint, like a recipe from a computer, and squirts out or hardens the material exactly where it's needed. No waste, no mess, just precision, and that's the magic of it. It's not new. People started playing with this tech back in the 1980s, but now it's getting so advanced that it's popping up everywhere. So, like I said, houses. Yeah, actual homes you could move into. Obviously, your average-size printer won't be able to do it. It would be a giant printer, like a scaled-up version of a normal 3D printer. And it's not the future. It's getting into use already. In places like Texas, companies are using these massive machines to build entire neighborhoods. The printer moves back and forth, laying down thick gray goop that hardens into walls, floors, and even roofs. One layer at a time, it stacks up until you've got a solid structure. No hammers, no nails, just a nozzle and some clever software telling it what to do. A whole house can go up in days, not months. Until now, traditional construction took forever. Workers, weather, supply, always delayed, and it all adds up. With 3D printing, you cut that time way down. Plus, it's cheaper. You're not paying a big crew or wasting materials that get tossed out. The machine uses just what it needs, squeezing out concrete like toothpaste from a tube. And don't think it will be weak by any means. These houses can be tougher too. The way the printer builds, it makes walls that are solid and thick. Experts even believe these houses can stand up to hurricanes better than regular homes. In a world where storms are getting crazier, that's huge. Just think about it. Because of its speed and cheaper cost, in the aftermath of any hurricane or storm, people would be able to rebuild their destroyed or damaged homes without having to face hassle and worrying about money. Just Google a bit, and you will find in the Netherlands there's a bike bridge made entirely by a 3D printer. It's not some flimsy thing either. It's strong enough for cyclists to zip across every day. The machine laid down concrete in a funky, wavy design that looks cool and holds up under weight. And over in China, they've printed pedestrian walkways that stretch across rivers. It feels wild to think a machine can churn out something we walk or ride on, all without a construction crew sweating it out. Well, there's also a more surprising part. Companies like Ford and BMW are printing parts for their vehicles. Not whole cars yet, but things like engine bits, dashboards, and even custom gear for race cars. It's lighter, it's faster to make, and it can be shaped in ways you couldn't do with old-school methods. So there are chances that your car could also have been partly made by this technology. Then there's also aerospace, where Boeing and SpaceX are printing pieces for rockets and planes. And I'm not making this all up. It's completely real and still happening. In fact, there are also some chefs and companies that are trying to automate their food-making process by just printing it. And yup, it's all edible. But the most craziest thing is that 3D printing is also getting used for our bodies. Doctors and scientists are using it to make things like prosthetic arms and legs. Not the clunky old kind. These are custom-made for each person. The printer scans someone's body, figures out the exact fit, and builds a lightweight arm or leg that moves better than ever. Kids who need new prosthetics as they grow, no problem. Just print a bigger one. It's cheaper, faster, and gives people their lives back in a way that feels almost magical. And it's not just stopping at prosthetics. Here's the jaw-dropper. Organs. Human organs like hearts, livers, and kidneys. Although this isn't fully here yet, it's still close. Closer than you might think. Scientists are using something called bioprinting. Instead of plastic or metal, the printer uses bio-ink, basically a mix of living cells and a gel to hold them together. Layer by layer, it builds tiny bits of tissue. They've already printed small patches of skin, blood vessels, and even little pieces of a heart that can beat. It's not like they're popping these into people yet, but they're testing them in labs, seeing how they work, figuring out how to make them bigger and better. At this pace, don't you think scientists will also just 3D print a whole living new human? So where's this all going? Honestly, it's hard to say, but it's exciting to guess. Like a city with curvy, weird shapes that don't look like anything we've got now, all tough as nails and dirt cheap to make. Or a hospital where they don't wait for donors. They just print what's needed, custom-made for every patient. Maybe also a world where hunger's less of a problem, because food printers crank out meals anywhere, anytime. So, what do you think? Could 3D printing really do all this houses, organs, everything? Or is it still a long shot? I'd love to hear your take. Thanks for sticking with me. Catch you next time.